Welcome to a now very beloved series on my channel. This is my Animal Crossing Ships and Builds series, where I basically show you some of my favorite happy home builds from Animal Crossing New Horizons, while explaining some of my favorite little relationship dynamics I've made for some of the characters. Oh yeah, did I mention that we draw them too? Yeah, we draw them too. The first ship I would like to show off is actually one that I mentioned in my very first video. I want to talk about Mira and Kevin, the two heroes that rival my gay villain dads, Phil and Cephalobot. So this might be like a little surprising, but I kind of went for like a more darker, ominous vibe for the heroic retreat. I don't know, I'm kind of tired of like the trope of heroes being like these angelic light kind of motif kind of beings. I don't know, there's something kind of interesting about a hero with a dark side, or at least a hero that's teetering on a very thin line of morality, and I find that so much fun. So I thought it'd be really cool if Mira kind of took this rundown, maybe abandoned mansion on a remote island and decided that this would be the perfect place to hide out. Nobody's ever gonna find their identities here. I mean, it kind of just looks like a rundown factory. Inside, as you can see, is very different from the outside. And that's kind of the point. When you're a superhero, you've got to keep everything on the down low, and you've got to keep your identity hidden and safe. I could just vaporize them? Oh my god! That's so brutal! How did I never know that? This is where Mira, famous superhero, super successful, always thwarting the plans of Cephalobot and Phil. This is where she gets all of her hard work done. And it wouldn't be possible without Kevin, her beloved sidekick, who, yes, I definitely ship. Dude, I love the hero X sidekick thing so much. I just think it's so cute that Kevin's kind of this dorky robotics kind of guy, and the guy in the chair, basically, who comes up with a lot of the plans and schemes and foils the things just in time, and Mira's the one that does all the action. Honestly, I headcanon Mira as, like, she, they, non-binary, because, I don't know, she's got the sisterly vibe, but also she's kind of just gender as hell. They've got like a whole lot going on with their identity, considering that they have to live this dual life thing, and I feel like maybe superheroics is the only way they can truly like express how they really feel. And Kevin is so supportive. Look at him, he's such a sweetheart. I love these two together. I don't care if they're an unlikely pair, I think that they're so adorable, dude. Much like Cephalobot and Phil, they have a lot of unique machinery and different things in here. They've got like their super power-up drinks. I kind of imagine they had like a brand deal where like they have like a super cool branded energy drink or something, because I think that Mira's superpower is honestly going to be driven by this very special watch where she can kind of stop time or speed up time. So she's got like these speed powers. I think that that would work really well for her branding. They are continuously pressing that button. Kevin? You're looking kind of like a villain right now, buddy. Don't agree! Kevin! Kevin, you can't have this betrayal on Mira. Oh my god, the drama is unfolding before our very eyes. So yeah, apparently this is gonna be a tragedy, and apparently Kevin's gonna betray Mira and become a villain, but we're not at that point in the story yet. Right now, they're being sweet, so we're just gonna pretend that that hasn't happened yet, but we just know they're doomed now, so. The second floor offers, honestly, their living space. They've turned this top part of the factory into kind of a super cool atmospheric home. They got this at-home diner, which is so awesome, and then they have separate bedrooms. On the left is Mira's room, which she's giving major workaholic vibes. Like, they cannot stop themselves from constantly working, making new concoctions to power their super watch, monitoring the city to make sure that the two evil villain dads aren't up to no good. On the right, we have Kevin's room, which is obviously a lot more busy. Kevin's got a bit more of a messier room and has a lot more of like the servers and like the cool robotics and boxes full of miscellaneous parts and things in here. But it's definitely a lot more well-lived. I feel like Mira's literally out so much and Kevin's mostly at the base working hard. Oh my gosh, and look, Kevin's cooking up a meal for Mira. How freaking sweet. Mira comes home after a long day of kicking butt, and Kevin's like, I got you, I got you. Aren't they just the sweetest, taking care of each other like this? Now they're cooking for each other. This is so wonderful. I am devastated that Kevin's gonna eventually betray Mira. Oh no, my heart, my poor heart. But despite the eventual betrayal, I still think it's gonna be really fun to draw these two together, kind of doing like a shyness. Like, I want them to be like, they really like each other and like they're already like established that they're dating and everything, but they're still awkward. Like, I love when the awkward phase of relationships kind of stays for a while. Like, I just think that's so stinking cute and so on brand of them. Cause you know Kevin be shy and a little bit awkward, and Mira be like the more bold and like chill, like, nah, like we're just dating it, don't worry, don't overthink it too much. And Kevin's like, oh, okay. Like, I could just see their dynamic being so freaking fun together, honestly. I imagine they kind of met through Mira's creation of this watch. Like, she made the super watch in like probably like a robotics course or something, maybe in college or something, was like, I'm gonna be a superhero, yeah, it's no big deal. And Kevin was like, whoa, really? I think I could help you with some inventions. And then they sort of tag teamed it, and Kevin became Mira's quote-unquote guy in the chair. And then he was like, hey, I kind of like you. And then they just sort of like are like, sure, chill, yeah, we could just date. And I'm like, yes, I just love this. Okay, I will squeal forever about these kind of dynamics, because I don't know, I just love when people get to be awkward and cute, dude. It's such a fun part of relationships, and I feel like most people want to skip it or like ignore it or embarrassed by it. But I'm like, no, it's so sweet and it's so natural and it's so wholesome. And that's what I think that this is at right now. Will they fall apart eventually? Yes, because my Animal Crossing villagers are messy. Okay, stepping away from the whole relationship gushy-gushy stuff, I do want to touch base on one of my sibling relationships I have between Norma and Patty. Because, okay, they're literally sisters, Your Honor. I love doing these kind of different relationship dynamics, and I can't wait to show you guys the build. So this is Norma and Patty's adorable little backyard getaway. They've got like this really sweet pink and white gorgeous little forest, and I thought it was so much fun pairing these two up together to be sisters, because they give me such like strong sibling bond vibes, but also they get on each other's nerves vibes, where in the sense that like they're really different in personality. I think Norma's actually the younger sibling, and I feel like she's just more of like the I want to read and be peaceful and water plants and take a nap in the sunshine kind of character. She's definitely more easygoing. Patty is definitely the more bold personality. She's definitely a foodie and loves to cook and is constantly outside enjoying her little backyard retreat and barbecuing up some really awesome vegetables and things that they grow in their garden. Inside their humble little abode, we have an adorable little kitchen because, as I said, Patty is a huge foodie and loves baking, loves barbecuing, loves making pizzas in the pizza oven. Like, she is all about this life. She is always trying new recipes and trying new things. And I feel like Norma is just like totally here for it. It's just like, ooh, yes please. Because I feel like Norma is the little sibling that's like, kind of like, oh, I can cook, but Patty, you're so much better at it. And Patty's like, yeah, I know I am. And like, they just like play into each other's like personalities in that way. And I think it's really cute and fun that they could kind of poke fun at each other like that. They got like kind of like a split house where they have bedrooms on separate sides. And over here, I imagine, is Norma's area. She's actually like a digital artist, and she loves to draw, and she likes to do more artistic things, more peaceful kind of quiet activities. And meanwhile, Patty has more of the kind of like loud fun energy. She's got lots of reds in her color palette, noise-making objects that are just so annoying to her poor sister. But I believe in those boxes that Patty has a lot of different hobbies and things that she likes to do. I imagine she's actually kind of more of a gamer. If I were to add anything to this build, I'd be adding like a little gaming station over here. I imagine she's actually like a first-person shooter enjoyer who's very loud and will scream on the microphone. Loves to be quite bold and loud and boisterous in comparison to her sister, who was totally just sneaking a snack over here. I caught you, Norma. I know, like, not every single sibling dynamic is going to get along. Like, I know a lot of people, even in my own life, who siblings just don't get along, and, like, I don't know how to say anything to that because I absolutely love my brother. My brother's my best friend, and we have, like, the best sibling bond ever. So this is just one of those things where I'm basing this more off of my own personal experience. I definitely want to delve more into other types of sibling bonds in my Animal Crossing builds, so you'll see more of that in the future. But for now, these two are freaking wholesome. They might bicker and they might not agree on everything. They might be total opposites at times, but I feel like the older sister, younger sister dynamic between them still works really well, and they are really freaking fun and wholesome, and I just really like their build because, like, the backyard is so peaceful and quaint. They got this tiny little home that is just perfect size for both of them to enjoy. Like, they're so simplistic. They live life so simply, and I think that's so freaking wonderful. And look at my girls. Look at them. They got strawberry milk and chocolate milk cows here, okay? They are freaking perfect. No criticism, no take backsies. They're siblings, Your Honor. That's all. PSA. Okay, I'm a little scared to share this ship because of how the internet is about Raymond, but okay, listen, this is the ship ever, and I have to make a very strong argument for this, so bear with me. It's Raymond and Rodeo, and they own a shop called Wands and Robes. Now stay with me here. In this frosty retreat on the cold streets of a magical town in our lovely Animal Crossing universe dwells a Raymond and his beloved boyfriend. Excuse me, Raymond, I'm trying to monologue. And his beloved boyfriend, Rodeo. I love the monochrome vibes that this build gives. It is so perfect for the winter, and it's just, like, barely gently snowing. The vibes are immaculate. I had to end up making this, like, really crappy road template, like, in, like, the little— Raymond, stop hogging the car! You're so annoying! God, you're so overrated. Anyways. Sorry, I have a bit of Raymond tension. I'm not really a fan, but we'll get into that. But yeah, I had to, like, make this road, like, makeshift, so sorry if it kind of looks like crud. We're getting the point across here. This is a concept, if you will. But this is actually the exterior to Raymond and Rodeo's humble little wand and robe shop. They've got lots of customers parked out front, so let's see what all of the hype is about and check out the inside of the shop. So Raymond is definitely more of the fashionista here. Raymond is 100% that classic gay guy who only cares about fashion and design and will fight you about it. He's a little bit toxic like that, and we kind of love that for him, you know? So Raymond is actually the one that makes all of the different clothes, and I like to imagine that all of the clothes here have magical properties. Either they are robes for mages, witch hats, or maybe even little special ribbons or little things, little accessories to attach to your cloaks that give you special properties like invisibility or protection against evil curses. Magic things! Insert magic things here! They're obviously very classy, and they also offer a lot of different other accessories like watches and rings and various magical items that they have found in their adventures, because I like to imagine that Raymond and Rodeo were once a part of a very prestigious mage college. And so they have that cute little backstory of like, yeah, we just met in college and totally clicked. And I think it's really fun that they also both have such like a classy style of like, they like old-timey things and antiques. So they go antique collecting a lot. This is where Raymond mostly operates, is behind his little counter, where he sews. And then on the other hand, I think Rodeo is the one that creates the wands. I imagine that's like a very, very tedious and precise thing you have to do. Yes, he agrees, absolutely. Taking a step away from all of the noise from below the shop, the next story is a little more telling about their true nature here. What kind of mages they actually are. They go for a very dark and spooky, sinister vibe because these two are questionably moral. They don't really care too much for good or evil or labels or things like that. They just want to understand the magic world and all of its properties. Raymond, you're not really helping me. I'm trying to make sure that everybody thinks that you're still a good guy, but now everybody just knows that you're evil. He's trying to scare me so bad. Whatever, dude. I'm gonna ignore you. Anyways, in this candlelit library atop this humble shop, they have collected so many strange and mysterious artifacts in their quote-unquote antique hunting. I imagine that they have some sort of meta-human capabilities where they can sense magical objects of some sort. At least one of them. I imagine Rodeo is the more magically attuned. They go and hunt down these possibly cursed objects, like this mirror. Or, I don't know, a whole skeleton, maybe? But Rodeo's definitely the wand maker, and I imagine that's actually more of like, has something to do more with potions than anything. Which is kind of interesting, because you have to mix a lot of properties together. I imagine wand making, for whatever reason, for at least how Rodeo's does it, is like pouring resin and having to get everything exactly right in order for it to stay and have all of its magical properties. As creepy and ominous as it is, this is where, ha ha ha, the magic happens. I am not gonna freaking lie, this is one of my favorite freaking builds, dude. From the winter vibes outside, the dark and dreary gray atmosphere, and then you go into like this warm and classy shop and everything feels rich and wonderful. And then you go upstairs and it's like, oh my god, there's a ritual going on up here. What is happening? There's just so much whiplash in this that I think it's so much fun because it ties into the characters and their story really well. Environments play a huge part in storytelling, and I feel like a character's space, specifically their home, is super duper duper telling. I think Rodeo and Raymond are freaking meant to be, dude. They've got this evil academia vibe about them, and they both are loving it, and they're so good at what they do. They have such wonderful similar interests, and I just think they're really cute together too. Like their color palettes work, and like I also just love the height dynamic between them and everything, dude. I feel like Rodeo's definitely more of the goofier of the two and will do more of like the silly goofy pranks and is more of like the easygoing, constantly laughing and smiling character, and Raymond's more of the stuck-up, like, oh, you're being so ridiculous kind of character. But he's blushing. He's looking away and blushing. Like, he loves it. Like, he loves it. And, like, I love this stupid ship, dude. I love this stupid ship. I know everybody probably ships Raymond with somebody else because Raymond's, like, the most hype character of Animal Crossing New Horizons. But at least hear me out on this, that this is at least a fun idea, a fun concept, maybe. If you can just stay with me on that and you can just say, all right, fine, this is a good idea. I will sleep better at night knowing that Raymond and Rodeo are meant to be and I'm not alone in this. Thank you for coming to my TED Talk. Look at the boys. Look at my evil, magical boys. Heart them. Heart emoji. We are hopping all across the board when it comes to my ships today. I want to go over like a really interesting dynamic that I thought of for these two characters. It's Matilda and Billy. And I know that's probably like coming out of left field here, but just listen. They are the old couple ever, Your Honor. They are so sweet and they have adopted a small child and we'll get into it. Come on, just follow me, follow me. So this is Matilda and Billy. I imagine these two to be elderly characters. I know they might not like exactly look it, but like I have to kind of stretch with the designs here and make up my own little stories. So I'd like to think that these two are very much up in their age and they're kind of looking for a retreat to retire and try something different in life. I imagine Matilda is the gardener. I mean, look at them. They're like already in the garden. I just got here. But Matilda, I believe, is non-binary. Figured that out pretty late in life, but is really happy with coming into this new sense of self and identity and realizing that, wow, gender's kind of overrated and I never really fit that my entire life. And I think it's something really important to have queer youth, yes, but also queer elders are so important to me because it shows that the queer youth can make it and we can still exist and we'll always be here. They have a super beautiful little farmhouse gorgeous little place to stay and enjoy their retirement. I imagine they both lived long, successful lives up until this point, but perhaps retirement in the city just wasn't working out for them, and it was just mundane and really boring. So that's why they decided to go on an even bigger journey together. They decided to adopt. They realized that the only thing that they had been missing is someone to pass the legacy on to, or at least somebody to share this life with other than each other. So a little more backstory about these two. Billy used to work with pottery and throws different types of ceramics and makes these really beautiful painted pieces, as you can see here. Billy still likes to do those things despite it being his job for most of his life, but I also headcanon that Billy is actually blind, or is partially blind going blind. So it's almost like a really sad tale of an artist kind of running out of time, and an artist having a very limited amount of work that they are able to do before their passions kind of slip through their fingers and they have to find some new endeavors in their life. It's always been a giant fear of mine, considering I literally almost went blind a few months ago. And it really put it into perspective of like, if I knew that that was going to happen, how much art would I make? Even if I was retired, oh my god, I'd be making so much, I would never ever stop. And that's kind of what Billy is. Billy's just pursuing his passion despite everything. And I feel like Matilda 100% supports that. They are 100% there for him, and is very helpful in that endeavor. Outside of the little craft room, they have a really humble, sweet little cottage where they raise their child. Now, I don't have a name for the kid because the kangaroo characters obviously just have like one name, but if you have any suggestions in the comments for what we should name their kid, that would be super awesome. I imagine maybe the child was an abandoned little roo, and Matilda was like, hey, I have a pouch, I can carry this little roo around, and we can take care of them. So there's just really adorable. They love their kid so very much. They've given their kid the world. Pretty much every square inch of this house you'll see has something for the little baby here, and it's so freaking adorable how much love and energy they put into raising this kid. I feel like there's just such a cozy and warm vibe here. It's kind of just like what you imagine home to feel like. And I feel like this kid is being raised in such a freaking awesome environment, dude. There's so much peace here. There's so much toys everywhere, and nobody's saying, hey, pick up your toys, blah, blah, blah. Like, there's just so gentle and kind and warm. And I don't know, there's something really fun about older people being able to adopt and still be great parents. I know that there's kind of like a stigma around, oh, well, young people are supposed to be parents and blah, 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 but honestly, I think the elders can be really wonderful parents too, and I don't want to dismiss that. They should be able to have that opportunity as well, and can be super loving, wonderful parents, even later in life. As far as, like, why they decided to adopt goes, it might just be a thing that they couldn't have kids themselves. Whatever the reason for their adoption may be, it is super clear that this kid has the entire world, and then some. Like, look at all of these fun toys. I imagine Billy is trying to be like, hey, let's do some art together, and Billy's trying to instill a little bit of that creativity into their child before he goes completely blind. They all get to bond over things that they love. Like, Matilda can bring their child and say, look at these ants we found in the garden, now let's watch them burrow, and explain the life of these tiny amazing creatures that are in our backyard. And they really instill a love of the world and their passions into their child. I am weak for domestic ships, dude. I can't get over them. Oh my god! I love these two so very much. Matilda and Billy. It's such an unlikely pair. Like, you look at these two and you're like, pet peeves, you are insane. And I'm like, yes, I know that. But listen, you're on the crazy train. You're on the 3rd episode of this series. Come on. You must love this, right? So yes, let's celebrate these two. They have overcome so very much. Like, I think that's what their bond is so strong over, is the fact that they lived the normal life. They did all the right things. They graduated from school. They went to college. They got corporate jobs. They climbed the ladder. They retired. They're successful. But at the end of the day, and at the end of that pipeline, they were like, but was I happy? I don't know. And then they had to answer those big questions with, who am I really? And Matilda being like, you know what? I don't think gender ever defined me. I think I'm non-binary. And Billy being like, with my vision leaving, I don't think I need to stop my passions. I think I need to pursue them now more than ever. And it's almost like this big revelation that they have together, that they're like, we have got to start living. We haven't lived. And so now they're like catching up on all those years and raising this adorable little child that they've adopted into their lives and are giving that kid everything that they never had and more. It's such a freaking amazing story of like overcoming and triumphing, and even though Billy is disabled and they are elderly, raising a child in the middle of a farmhouse in the middle of nowhere, like that's a huge challenge, but they love it and they chose it. For once in their lives, they made that choice and they're following their own dreams and their own passions. And I'm so freaking proud of these two, and I love them so much. Again, let's name the child together because I need to know what this little baby's name is. I decided to change up the design of the baby considering the little Roo is adopted. So in case you're wondering why that looks a little different, that is why. But yeah, let me know if you have any cute little names. The baby, I don't have like a set gender for either, so it could literally be anything, any kind of name, maybe even a name that's ambiguous so you can kind of headcanon whatever gender you feel their child might be for yourself, because I like leaving things open-ended as well, because these are just headcanons at the end of the day. Look at my happy, wholesome family. Look at them. They're living their best lives. I'm so proud of them. Last ship of the day is going to be a very bold one. It's a really fun kind of lesbian aunt dynamic between Naomi and Claudia. So the vibes for this build was a sad art cafe. So naturally I picked a remote island in the middle of nowhere where it's always raining for these two to set up the most unique cafe you've probably ever seen. On this dreary island, these two lesbian aunts, I keep calling them lesbian wine aunts because they are, okay, listen, like they are the most like gaudy fashion sense, kind of sassy aunt characters. They have the bright colors, they have the insane wardrobes, like they live that life, and you are gonna see exactly what I mean by that. It's kind of cool that on this kind of remote island they have this really interesting statue that's on another separate island, and I imagine that was just there to begin with. Like that is the very first little signal they had that this should be the spot for their cafe. I imagine that this place is kind of like a magical place in the sense that it never stops raining, and maybe the statue is kind of a symbol of that, and they were like, wow, what a beautiful spot to put down a sad art cafe. And so they did. Inside of this cafe is such a unique kind of artsy vibe. I honestly imagine that these two live somewhere else. They don't live in this cafe. It's just where they work and they love to come and put on different performances. I more so think that Claudia's the musician and that Naomi is more of the artist in the sense of making paintings and things like that. I actually don't think that they prepare any of their own food here. I imagine they hire people. I headcanon these two as like super rich. Like they live in a mansion somewhere else. They don't even care about anything else. They are just like all about that fabulous wealth. They are definitely the white aunts who will call you darling. Okay, these two, no class. Just look at them. They're so meant to be. Their color palettes are harmonious. They are so perfect, dude. I can't get over them. The sass between the both of them, dude. I love it. I love it. I love it. I'm eating it up. But they have this really interesting kind of lounge area where they have all these different art on display, whether it be like fancy things they found along the way while hunting and going to various art shows and events and museums and buying up their favorite pieces, or they've made them themselves. I think Naomi's definitely more artistic than she's giving herself credit for, and I feel like she's kind of stuck in a box a little bit currently. I feel like this cafe was a shot at her kind of expressing herself a little bit more in the sense of like, no, darling, I don't want the chairs to match. I don't want them to match on purpose. It's a statement. So she's like trying very hard to like bust out of this like box of normality, and she's trying to find like a breakthrough in her artistic journey. I feel like she definitely wants to splatter paint all over these walls and turn them into murals, but for now, she's allowing them to be blank brick walls because she's still a little scared of that self-expression, maybe. Meanwhile, Claudia, I feel, is very much loving this cafe vibe because she gets to put on some very elegant piano performances. I feel like Claudia might be a little bit more relaxed in the sense of feeling content with her art, but I feel like she's got a little bit of like an emotional rift going on with her art. This is why this cafe is called the Sad Art Cafe, because they have a little bit of woes with their journeys currently. And I like meeting characters in parts of their journeys where it's not like the beginning or the end, but maybe like some difficult middle point. Because I feel like Claudia was one of those rich young girls who was forced to learn how to play piano and violin and all these instruments and things, and she kind of hated it when she was growing up. And only now is she starting to reclaim that part of herself and say, no, actually this is a form of expression and I want to learn to play piano for myself, not for my parents. And I imagine that these two are just kind of on this big journey of learning more about what it really means to be an artist and to kind of take the emptiness of this kind of like idea they were given of what art's supposed to be and make it into something more. But yes, these two are the couple ever. I don't imagine they actually get along most of the time, but I think that's kind of the fun part of their relationship, is that they like know that they like to bicker and get on each other's nerves and everything, but they freaking love it. Like they're just like, oh god, that dress is hideous on you, and then she's like, well, that's exactly why I wear it. And then they just have so much fun like bickering and like poking fun at each other and like being annoying at each other. That's kind of their whole dynamic, where like if they were to show up at the family party, right, or like a wedding, they would take your breath away. First of all, they'd be drop dead gorgeous, they would be wearing all the accessories, all the fancy stuff, and they would be making a statement. But then they'd also be sitting there being like, oh my god, we were 10 minutes late because Naomi had to do this thing. And then be like, oh, Claudia, please, you're the one that took 50 minutes on just your hair. And they'd be like, all like upset at each other, but it's kind of part of their shtick. Like, they actually really love each other, dude. They actually are there for each other. They definitely sit outside in the pouring rain, staring off at their mystical statue going, oh, where did we go wrong in life? We have everything, but we also have nothing. And they're so deep and philosophical when nobody's looking, and I love them. I just think it's so fun, okay? Dude, obviously slay for them, like they're killing it, but also like I just think that there's something to say about like the rich wine aunt aesthetic, but also like the sadness that could follow that. And like I think it's important to sit with emotions with characters and have their environment play off of those emotions, as well as like they're both kind of desperate to feel something more when it comes to art, and they're always searching for that next great big thing, and I think they're both very much close to finding those answers. And I think that this build and this ship really is a testament to that, and it's so fun. And just look at my sassy aunts. Look at them and love them and adore them. They are so much fun, dude. Well, that is all the ships I have for you today. I hope you have been enjoying the series. It seems like everybody's finding this to be their new comfort series, so don't worry, I plan on making a lot more episodes because I have so many hours in this game. It is incredible. Almost 500 hours, gamers, so we have plenty of stuff to go over, plenty of ships to gush about. So let me know in the comments, as always, who are your favorite ships so far from my series? What are your favorite Animal Crossing ships from your games? I love reading your stories and your ships so much. You've got me on some of your bandwagons, and I'm so excited about that. I'm really happy that you guys enjoy it so much. It's so awesome that I get to share like all aspects of my hobbies, like art and video games. It's such a freaking cool combination. Until next time, bye-bye!